What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So today I'm going to show you a story of an individual scamming someone, and I can guarantee you've been in this situation before because we've all been here before, and I'm going to tell you a personal story after we watch this clip. But first off, you guys can do me a favor. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell notification, and then click all. By clicking all, you'll get notified anytime we post a video. We do daily videos here, so by clicking the bell notification and clicking all, you should be getting updated every day. And just a reminder, thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. And if you'd like to follow me on Twitter and Threads, you can at the TEC Show Live. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to show you guys this clip, and then we'll talk a little bit about it. Here we go.
Thanks a lot. Now to a crime alert tonight in the arrest of a waitress who police say was taking more than just orders at a Cooper's Hawk restaurant in Local 10's Janine Stan with us live in Davie now with a warning you need to hear before going out to eat tonight. Janine?
Calvin, a lot of diners are very leery about handing over their credit cards, and more restaurants like the Greek joint here in Davie are using these mobile devices where you can pay right on the spot, right at your table. According to Fort Lauderdale police, there was one waitress who was making unauthorized charges behind the scenes.
After a meal, it's time to pony up. But at the posh Cooper's Hawk in Fort Lauderdale, police say this woman, now former waitress Elizabeth Garcia, was allegedly swiping diners' cards into her own device and stealing thousands of dollars. In their report, police say customers started seeing unauthorized charges, food, gas, travel, entertainment, and personal living expenses. In one case, detectives say a customer had a $2,500 charge seconds after paying for his meal. Garcia was arrested. She had little to say to us.
We wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about your arrest.
Okay, no.
Did you steal money from patrons at the store?
Restaurants like the Greek joint in Davie tell us they like using these table-side credit card processors that are used all over Europe and give customers a sense of security.
Even when we process their payment, we don't see their information on the device. It's all encrypted and it doesn't get stored in the system.
I think it's more secure than the waitress or the server taking the credit card, walking away from you. You don't know what they're doing with it.
Diners we met say they don't like giving up their cards.
I went to a restaurant and I paid with my card, and with the whole excitement of just paying and getting ready to go, I never realized that the server never gave me my card.
The National Restaurant Association reports more operators plan to invest in technology, even just to make payment easier. Garcia now faces charges of organized scheme to defraud and grand theft.
Customers here at the Greek joint really seem to like this mobile payment device. Experts say there are some things that you can do to keep safe. Keep a check on your credit card statement. There are also things like Apple Pay that are also very secure, and when in doubt, just use cash. We're in Davie tonight. I'm Janine Stanwood, Local 10 News.
Okay, so crazy situation. Now, I'm going to tell you guys a personal story. This actually happened to me. So, and I talked about this during a live stream. By the way, I'm doing live streams every Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But I want to tell the story again because I know not everyone's watching my live stream. So the situation that happened to me is I was working on a weekend. I don't normally work on a weekend, but I was working on a weekend. It was early in the morning, and we went to lunch. And so I think it was probably around 11 or 12 o'clock we were going to lunch. And so we had our meal, and this was about 12 years ago. So 12 years ago, I used my debit card for all of my purchases. I didn't use a credit card or anything like that. Now I use credit cards, and I'll explain the reason why. But back then, I used my debit card to pay for the meal. And so after I paid for the meal, went back to the office, took out, got all my gear off and everything, jumped in the car. On my way home, I got a notification, a text message from my bank saying that they think that it was like a fraud alert thing. And so I went ahead and called my bank. And if you ever get a fraud alert on your phone, it's like a text, make sure you verify the number and then call it. And so that's what I did. Verify the number, then I called it. Don't click on any links or anything like that, because you do have scammers that will actually send you a text message, fraud alert, from your bank. And so always verify that number. That's very important. So I verified the number. I went ahead and I called my bank, and my bank said that, yes, it looks like there could be some fraudulent activity. And they started asking me about my different transactions. They said, well, one transaction, the transaction at the restaurant, yes, I did that transaction. And they said, okay, about 10 minutes later, we saw that you did another transaction, but the distance was about 45 minutes away. And so they said it would be impossible for him to be at a restaurant 1 minute and then 10 minutes later be 45 minutes away. And so it didn't make sense to them. And so that's why they sent me the fraud alert. And sure enough, someone was using my account. They took out about $600. And so what the bank did, they told me we have to open up an investigation. It's going to could take up to 10 business days. The money doesn't just go right back into my account. They have to investigate. Even though they caught it, they still have to investigate it to make sure that, it wasn't a friend of mine that was using it or a family member that was using it. And so these situations actually happen. Now, at the time, I wasn't thinking about it, and I wasn't thinking along those lines of maybe it was the waiter or the waitress. I wasn't thinking like that, but it could have potentially been because it was that same scenario where they give you the little envelope, you put your card in the envelope, they take it away, and they go charge it up, and then they come back and they give you the receipt, and then they give you your card back. And so situations like that, any situation where that card leaves your eyesight, you should be using a credit card. And that's what I do from now on. The reason why I use a credit card is because, for one, the credit card is not tied to my bank account. And so they're not going to be able to just withdraw money out of my bank account. So if they're taking it off a credit card, as long as I catch it, or if the credit card company catches it, then they will let me know it looks like there's been some type of fraudulent activity, the same scenarios before, but the money hasn't come out of my bank account. They've just charged it onto the credit card company, and so the credit card company will just wipe it away. I'll never have to address it or wait for money to come into my bank account. And so now I don't use a debit card for anything. I use a credit card for everything. And another thing that they talked about, they were talking about those little machines, the little card readers that they bring to your table. Now, the interesting part about this is in other countries, and they said that it's very popular in Europe, it's also popular in Colombia. I go to Colombia a lot. That was the first time that I experienced it, going to Colombia, where they don't take your card at all, ever. They will always bring that little machine. So it has, it's connected, I guess, to Wi-Fi or something like that. They bring that machine, and that's how you do your transaction. And they have to do it in front of you. So that's, if you hold your card up and say, I have a card, or they'll ask you if you're paying with your card or cash. If you hold up your card, then they're going to say, okay, wait. And then they'll go grab the machine and then bring it back to you. And there's been a couple of situations where they still have that little envelope, which I think is funny. They still have the envelope. You put it in the envelope. And I was waiting for them to take it away. So she opens up the envelope. She sees that I have a card. And then she says, okay, wait. She closes it back up. She goes and gets the machine and then brings it back. And so that is normal practice. Now in the U.S., a little different. Some places you go, they might have it. I haven't really experienced it too often out here. And I know the other method would be if you're at a restaurant, they give you the check and then you have to go up to the register, usually like at cafes and things like that. So that's the tip that I have for you guys. If you're ever in that situation where that card leaves your site, always use a credit card or use cash. You can use cash as well, but don't use a debit card. You don't want to have them have access to your actual debit card where they can take money out of your account. So just something to think about there. And then also something else that I do, and this is, I'm not talking about restaurants, but just when I use my cards, I always use a tap to pay if possible. And they say using the tap to pay is a little safer now because what they're doing now is they have these these skimmers that they're putting on top of these card readers. And so they put a skimmer on top of that. You put your card in that machine, it gets all your information. And then if you're using a debit card and you're putting in your PIN number, it's recording all of that information. So now I do tap to pay whenever I can. Even if I'm at a gas station, I try to use tap to pay because tap to pay has more security when it comes to situations like that where they can't, even if they have a skimmer over the top, use tap to pay, they're not able, at least right now, they're not able to get that information. So if you guys have any questions, let me know down below and let me know your stories. If you've been in a situation like this, let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.
This Congress can't pass gas, and he needs to run against a do-nothing Congress. And I think that can give them some traction that he did not have before. But, maybe they could get Rudy Giuliani to be speaker. We know he can pass gas for sure. But this is almost comical.